Hi, I'm Nancy. Welcome to Mindful Yoga. Today I'm doing a chair yoga, and the chair yoga is for people who maybe have trouble getting up and down from the floor, or maybe you've got an injury in your legs, so use it as you can. Our other theme for today is the lungs. So we'll begin with some breathing, and we'll be kind of expanding our lungs in various ways and using a little bit of Qigong as well to bring our attention to the lungs and what they mean in the Chinese meridian system. Have a seat on your chair and just make yourself comfortable. For this part, you might just wiggle back into your chair, get some good support. Avoid the slump, which is so easy to have, and instead maybe fitting your buttocks back into the chair and allowing the chair to give you some support. So avoid having a chair that's going to round you, or rather one that can allow you to sit back and hold up. If that's impossible in your chair, just come to the edge of the chair, which we'll be doing this anyway a little later, and lift up. But find a place, number one, that's comfortable for you. So that's our main aim, to find comfort and plenty of possibilities within the various options that I offer today. So I invite you to have a soft gaze and begin to bring your attention to the breath. What's the breath like today? Is it a little rough or kind of smooth? Is it slow or fast? Is it light or more on the heavy side? All of this needs no judgment. We are observing the breath. And becoming aware of the diaphragm, letting the middle of the diaphragm dip down and the sides and the back of the ribs around the diaphragm expand. So feeling that diaphragm on the inhale going down into the abdomen and then rising up for the exhale. As the muscles of the side and back ribs expand the ribs and let them go. As you keep breathing, the inhale can expand up underneath the armpits, expanding in the heart area out to the sides and the back. The lungs are really much bigger in the back than they are in the front. So rather than forcing anything forward, invite the air to come into the sides and the backs of the lungs that are really quite huge. They're as big as half a tennis court if you were able to lay out all the tissue, which of course you wouldn't want to do, but they're very huge. So there's a lot of energy there. Continue breathing for 3 or 4 more breaths, smoothing and deepening the breath. As you breathe, imagine that fresh, new breath is coming in with the inhale, and that you're able to breathe out murky, tired breath. Renewing the lungs with every breath. And of course, that renewal goes into your bloodstream, into your cells. And what needs to be expelled from the body, your tiredness, tension, let it go. In Qigong, if the breath and the lungs are balanced, one feels courage and confidence, self-respect. The element associated with the lungs is metal. So we have the metal of courage. On the other hand, sadness and grief can gather in the lungs, making them musty and murky, too wet perhaps. So we'll be doing some exercises as we go on to expel any amount of sadness or grief that you are able to let go, that's ready to be let go. And invite in the metal of courage. So just coming back to your regular breath, hands are on the thighs. One more breath here as you observe what is natural to your breathing. Then bring your chin down to your chest, draw a necklace across your chest. Listening to any cricks and cracks in your neck. Letting the chin come up over one shoulder, just as far as is comfortable, down and across, and up towards the other shoulder. So find where your neck is, always finding the range of motion that is yours today. You might be able to look back over one shoulder fairly well, and I have a bit of a crick in my neck today. I can't look over my left shoulder quite so well. So judging where your neck is at. And then coming back to center, chin goes down, then let the chin lead the way up as gaze rises slightly and come back down to the chest. 2 more times. Inhale up. Exhale, chin down. Inhale, gaze up to the sky. Exhale, nose down towards the earth. And back through center. So now let's come forward onto the edge of our chairs and just rotate in a small circle, the ribs, moving in a circle around the pelvis, on top of the pelvis. A couple more times in this direction. And then the other direction, feeling the ribs slide a little bit forward, over to the side and back, and over to the other side. Again, finding your range of motion and your point of comfort. And if you don't feel like doing something that I recommend, please don't. Certainly if there's any pain, back off from it. It's your body, and you are the judge. Let's bring our shoulders up towards our ears, and then back and down, together in the front and up. Back, squeezing the shoulder blades together, shoulders to press down, and then together towards the front and elevate up towards the ears. Letting the breath be part of the movement. Inhaling as shoulders rise and exhaling as shoulders to press down. And let this be the last one. Come back through center. And we're going to rock slightly side to side, bringing weight from one hip to the other. Just a small rocking motion. And then little by little, it might get a little bigger if that's comfortable, turning into a little bit more of a sway. And you can stay with this, or you might bring one arm down and come through center. Inhale. On the exhale, come over into a slight side bend. Inhale, center. Arm comes up and exhale over. Just beginning to stretch up through the lateral aspect of the body. Inhale, center as arm rises, and exhale over. Inhale up and exhale over. Arm lifts up towards the sky, a little more of a lift there, and then exhaling over. Inhale up, reach up, and exhale over. If the shoulder range of motion does not accommodate this, then you can always just do something like a hand going over to the opposite shoulder. So find ways to modify. You might have injuries right now that need this modification. Please feel free to do so. So then we're going to come out front and over diagonally. So inhaling center, exhale, reach over kind of towards the corner of that room or the wall over there, a little bit in front of you, reaching over, stretching through the back of the shoulder. And what do you feel in the back side of the body? Maybe taking a bit of a soft gaze as you move, coming into the body and feeling that movement just where it's happening. One more time to each side. And then coming back through middle. This is one where you'll want to be aware of your range of motion in the shoulders. It's a sun breath. It could be an attenuated sun breath where you're able to come up this far and come down. Or you might inhale up a little bit farther to horizontal arms and exhale down, keeping it slow. Or you might let the arms float up a little farther and float down as if they're going through slightly warm honey or thick air. And depending on the range of motion, you might come all the way up with arms up overhead, parallel to each other, and a slow exhale down. So finding your place here in the sun breath. Gaze can be soft as you inhale, or focus might be in front of you 4 or 5 feet. And exhale with the motion of the arms downward. Inhale up. And let the arms float slowly down. Now bend the elbows, so I'm sitting like this. My elbows are along the sides of my body and my hands are out in front. And I'm going to open and close my hands first, stretching through the palms, stretching through the fingers. For 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now, keeping the same position, I'm going to squeeze my shoulder blades together. So I invite you to think about the shoulder blades, each of them coming towards the spine. And your hands might move apart a little bit, but not because you're moving your arms or your shoulders, but because you're moving your shoulder blades. So this might not come real naturally at first. Moving the shoulder blades towards the spinal column, as if you're squeezing a pencil, which would be very unlikely, but squeezing something between your shoulder blades and letting that be the movement that pulls your hands apart. And of course, that makes you exhale usually. So inhaling and exhaling. Inhale back to center and exhale. One last time. Now bring the arms up as much as is comfortable for you. Inhale as you bring the arms just slightly back, and exhale, close arms together and bring chin down towards the chest as you exhale. Inhale, open, chest opens a bit, and exhale, as the chin comes towards the chest and the spine arches a bit towards the back. Inhale, open, and exhale, close. Inhale, the front of the spine opens out towards the front. Exhale, the back of the spine opens towards the back. And 2 more times. Giving some flexibility to that spine. And bring it back to center. Now we're going to come into cactus arms. So cactus arms can be with elbows straight out. If that is hard with range of motion of shoulders, they can be down a bit as well, or they can be right down like this. So we're going to inhale with whatever cactus arms you are performing right now. Inhale on that. And then as you exhale, we'll come forward a bit. So inhale and exhale. As you exhale, the spine stays fairly upright, so it's not a lot of a bending motion. Inhale, open the arms. Exhale, just a bit forward with an upright spine. Inhale, the sternum, the breastbone comes forward. Exhale, it comes back onto the heart. There are actually 2 ligaments that attach the sternum, the breastbone, to the pericardium, the sac around the heart. So when we open the heart and inhale, we're actually pulling the sac of the heart, and therefore the heart, forward towards the breastbone. So inhaling and exhaling. Not a big movement. With the chest expanding, the sternum coming forward. One last time. Now let's bring one hand down and one hand reaches up. And again, aware of your range of motion here, reaching up and down just as far as is right for you. It might be small, it might be medium, it might be large. Let the gaze go up towards that upper hand, wherever it is. Hands come together at the chest, other arm goes down, and the opposite arm goes up, and look up towards that hand. And if it's a smaller movement, just follow the hand with the gaze, come back to the chest, and follow up on the other side. Respecting exactly where the body is right now and letting yoga work through the body as it is. As part of the gift of yoga is getting to know our bodies, accepting their limitations, and also challenging them a bit. One more time on each side. Just reaching up and down as far as is right for the body you inhabit. And bring the hands down. Now we're going to do arm revolutions. So one arm comes down along the side, it comes forward, and it might come all the way around. Maybe there's a crick here that you can't get by and you bring it straight down, or maybe it comes all the way around and back. Or maybe it's the elbow that comes up and goes around. So again, playing with this, finding exactly where your body is at, where your shoulder is out in particular here, and taking a few more revolutions around. You might bring your arm out to the side a little bit more and not so far up. Find where your shoulder is at. One last time. And back around. And now the other side. Inhale up just to the place that is appropriate for your body. Bring it around. Let the gaze follow to the extent that it can. Whatever level that arm is coming. And you might be coming up and then just coming to the side and down. Again, accepting limitations and giving the teeniest bit of challenge as well, so that little by little things do expand. The connective tissue becomes a little warmer and stretchier. And bring it around. Now we're going to rub a few of our lung meridians. So these acupressure points that correspond with acupuncture points in the body. And the first one we're going to do is over here in the corner of the shoulder. So I'm right here in the corner of the shoulder. You can see there's a little divot there. And kind of dig your finger in there. You're not going to hurt anything. And just rub. There's several points there, so you'll hit them. If you're kind of in between the bone and the muscle there in the eye of the shoulder. As you do that, bringing your attention back to the breath, breathing. Then come down the arm, bring a finger or thumb to the eye of the elbow. So I'm right here in the middle of the elbow, and then go about halfway up. So I'm halfway up in the middle of the elbow, and then I go halfway up between the middle and the top. And that's where I want to be. So I might take a forefinger or I might take a thumb and press there. And then I'm going to make my way down between the muscle and the sinew there and the bone, under the bone as you go farther down. Just making your way down that lung meridian. Coming to the thumb, rubbing both sides of the end of the thumb. And then opening the hand, forefinger and thumb are open here, bringing the thumb and forefinger of the other hand into there. Just digging right in there. This is a large intestine point, but in Chinese medicine, the lungs are associated with the large intestine. So rubbing there. This is a fairly familiar point that people tend to know. And relaxing by just bringing your attention to the breath, letting yourself sink into the breath, and then letting that point go. Let's come back up to the other shoulder, the eye of the shoulder there, right at the corner between the muscles and the bone. And rub in there. You might feel some sensitivity. Might be different on one side than the other side. Then coming down as we did on the other arm to the middle of the elbow, and then coming halfway up between the middle and the top. So they're underneath that muscle, and then rubbing with thumb or maybe with finger as you come down that top muscle of the arm and underneath the bone there as you come down to the wrist. And then coming to the thumb on both sides of the thumb and rubbing both sides of the fingernail there. And then bring your fingers in between the thumb and forefinger, giving a good large intestine acupressure massage right there. It helps me to just relax my gaze, relax down through the abdomen and the shoulders as I do this. And breathe. And then bring it down. Let's take a few lung breaths. Inhaling again, expanding the lower ribs, bringing that breath up through under the armpits, through the heart area in the back, and the collarbone rises a bit as well. And exhaling out. Imagine that you're inhaling the vibrant energy of the universe, the chi that is both outside us and inside us, or prana, as we call it in yoga. The color of the lungs is white. So you might imagine a diamond white light. Or you might imagine billowing sails on a crisp day as you bring this new fresh breath into the lungs and let the tired, murky air flow out. Breathing out what diminishes any brilliance of that white diamond light or that billowing white sail. And then coming back to center, let's bring our neck, chin over towards the shoulder. So turning the chin towards the shoulder, coming back through center, inhale. Exhale, chin goes over to shoulder. It's in your range of motion. Inhale, center. Exhale, over to the shoulder. Inhale, center. And exhale, over to the shoulder. And inhale, center. Now we'll bring our arms out, might be into an A shape, might be horizontal, and we're going to come into a small twist. And the chin might turn slightly, again, inhaling center, exhaling as we come round. Most of the twist here, all of the twist, is a little bit in the neck, but also in the torso area, the shoulder blades and the lower ribs. The hips are static here, right there. Their weight is on the chair, and that's a good thing because we don't want to twist too much through the lower lumbar spine. Rather, our twist is through the middle spine, and a little bit through the neck, of course, is very twisty as well. One more time in each direction. Maybe twisting just a little farther each time. Then come back through center. And now we're going to twist again, and I suggest that you bring one hand across to the opposite thigh and the other hand on the base of your chair. Inhale from the grounding of your shin bones up through your crown, and exhale, turning the lower ribs slightly. Inhale up through crown, exhale, shoulders around slightly. Inhale up, and exhale, chin around. So just about 60% of what you could do. No straining here. Release. Other hand comes to the opposite thigh, and the alternate hand comes on to the side of the chair. Inhale from sits bones up through crown, lengthening up through the spine, and exhale, round in the lower ribs. Inhale up through the spine, and exhale, round through shoulders. Inhale up, and exhale, chin around. One more breath here. And come back through center. Now bring your hands to the sides of the chairs. Bring your feet a little wider apart, and we'll let the knees just go side to side a bit. So here the knees are moving, you're rolling over the bottom of your feet. Can you feel the feet kind of getting a little massage underneath you? And of course, your thighs are moving in your hips somewhat. So now the option to let the hips enter in a little bit more. Hips might start to move. They might slightly lift up from the chair. Experiment with how far you want to go here with the hip. Feet might come a little farther apart if you want to come bring that hip up a little bit more. You might actually lift your hip up. Let it be an experiment, an exploration with your own body. And then if you would like to, an arm might come across as you come one way and then the other. So all of this is an invitation to find your option as to where your body lands in this movement. Nice, fluid, smooth, silky movement here. And it might be smaller than mine, it might be bigger than mine. Make it your own personal yoga. And one last time to this side, and we'll come back. And then gradually through center. Bringing the feet underneath the knees. Raise one foot up, straightening the knee, and then bringing it down. As it comes up, flex the foot so that perhaps you feel a little bit of tension in the calf and some stretching in the calf. If that doesn't work for whatever reason, perhaps there's an injury, you can just slide the foot out and flex the foot. So you might keep the heel on the ground, or you might be lifting up with that heel. 3, 2, and 1. And now let's either slide the foot out and be on the heel with the ankle flexed, or lift it a bit with the ankle flexed for 4, 3, 2, and 1. And coming to the other side, once again, first sliding out onto the heel and flexing the foot, or perhaps lifting from the knee down through the heel, finding what is right for you, either sliding out onto the heel or lifting up, or something in between. And now we're going to hold it. You might hold with your heel on the earth, the ankle flexed, or you might lift. So partly this is exercise for the thigh and the calf, but it is also a way to bring some energy to the calf, because stretching our calf is really important. Bring that foot down. It's said sometimes to be our second lungs, because the blood, when it goes through the calf, and we exercise and move those calves, then they can come up to the heart more easily. Okay, let's put our hand on the opposite leg with the foot on the ground and raise the foot, and then come around to the other side and raise the foot. So back and forth. Again, the heel might slide out, or you might lift the leg up. So a twist and a lift all together here. One more side. And come back through center. Now bring your hands back behind your thigh and hold the thigh up. We're going to bring the thigh up and down and see where you are as far as, are you using your arms mostly to bring that thigh up, which is fine, or are you using the muscles of around the hip and the pelvis, the abdomen, and the thigh? It's just up and down. Probably some kind of combination of the hands helping the thigh up and the thigh doing some of the work itself. And then we're going to bring it up and circle. So giving it a little bit of support, at the same time giving it a little bit of challenge as we circle round and round the opposite direction. 4, 3, 2, and 1. And come to the other side. And again, we'll start this down and up motion, finding what your proportionality is between the hands, lifting the thigh, and the thigh, abdomen muscles doing part of the work. For 3, 2, and 1. And then we're going to circle the knee. Again, finding that range of motion that is right for you and finding the balance between the hands and the arms and what they're doing and what the leg itself and the rest of the body is taking care of. 3, 2, 1. Bring the feet out a little bit in front of you. Slide the hands forward. They might come over the knees. They might come farther down. Find your place. Bring the chest forward towards the screen, in this case probably, or towards a point 4 or 5 feet out from you, so that you're not really bending over, but coming forward. And you're really hinging from the bottom of the spine. So hands slide down, hinge from the bottom of the spine. Heart comes forward and come back up. And 3 more times. Exhaling forward. Inhaling up. Exhaling forward. And inhaling up. Exhaling forward. And inhaling up. All right, good effort. Now we're going to turn in our chair. One leg is, I have one hip on the chair. The other hip is kind of half on the chair, or maybe not at all, but mine is about half on the chair. So I'm supporting both of my hips, but part of my fleshy part here is hanging out over the chair. And I have this one leg back, and then the back leg has the knee right on top of the ankle. So we're in kind of a, if you are familiar with yoga, a warrior 2 pose. So first we're just going to stretch here for a moment and bring this knee down, feeling that opening through the front of the hip flexor. So this is something that is a little harder to get when we're doing chair yoga, but absolutely possible with this kind of a pose. Of course, you could be on the side of your chair and doing this as well. And you might slightly bring the toes back a little bit more if you want a little bit more stretch. Bring this front arm up, if that's available to you, and come over just slightly. So over towards the back of the chair, just a slight side bend, which brings a little bit more stretch up through the side of the body and the front hip flexor. And bring it down. And then if you'd like to come into more of a warrior 2 position, arms might come out again. They might be more A-frame, or they might be straighter across. Eyes going out over the front fingers and fingers reaching back behind. Bring the shoulders down away from the ears. And if this hand would like to be out to the side, that's fine. Really find the point at which you are comfortable having that little bit of challenge, and at the same time taking care of your body. So we'll come around to the other side, finding your place on the chair over here so that you're balanced. You're not going to fall off the chair. You can also be on the side of the chair and do this, so that works as well. First of all, bringing your attention to the front of the hip flexor and the front of the quad, the front of the thigh. Kind of feel that unfolding through the abdomen as you rise up with a nice upright spine and let the knee go down towards the earth. Feeling that lengthening up through the body. Where do you feel it? Are there some stuck places? Breathe into those. And lengthening the breath a little bit also invites more length through the body. Then rising up with the arm, if that's available to you, reaching up towards the sky, and then a slight side bend over. Come up, and then once again a little side bend over, just increasing the side and front opening slightly. And bring that arm down. Then we'll come into a warrior two. Hands might be in A-frame. Arm might be out to the side. I notice it's a little hard for me to get my arm back. So that's a little awkward in this pose. So my hand might be out a little bit diagonally or towards the screen in this warrior two pose. Looking out over the front fingers. Coming back to the breath. Letting the breath flow out from the lungs, out along that lung meridian, out through the thumb. One last inhale and exhale. And bring it down. So now, if it works for you, let's come behind the chair for just a few moves. We're going to hold on to the chair with one hand. And you could also do this sitting down. So if you don't want to get up behind the chair, you could tap your foot while you're sitting. We're going to tap foot forward and back, bringing our weight into one side of the body, keeping that hip strong. Tap forward and back, forward and back. 2 more times. Then bring the feet underneath your hips and come into mountain for a moment. The hip joints, their weight is coming down onto the heels, across to the big toe mound, rising up through the body. And now we're going to bring the weight into the foundation leg that you're going to be using, nice and strong through the muscles on the side of the hips, and then bringing the toe out. 4, 3, 2, 1. And then we'll go back. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring both feet under you for a moment. Let the hips be strong, the muscles on either side, the glutes strong, the core strong. And then again, bringing that dynamic movement through the side of the body of your foundation leg, from the heel up through the hip, up through the shoulder. And then this foot comes out and taps front and side and back, front, side, and back, front, side, and back. And one more time. And come back through center. And then we'll find the other side of the chair if you're sitting, the other foot. Once again, coming into mountain, establishing that strong weight down through the hips, onto the heels, and out to the big toe mound, upright through the spine, and one toe coming out to the front. 3, 2, and 1. Keep a focus in front of you, maybe 4 feet in front of you, and then bring it out to the side. 4, 3, lifting up through the other side of the body. 2, and 1. And then just bringing the toe back as much as works for you. 4, 3, 2, and 1. And then we'll do it all the way around. Well, let's take a little break here. Let's reestablish our firm two-legged position as humans. And then you might bring the toe out, front, side, back, and back to middle. Front, side, back, and back to middle. And you can lift up through this if that's what you find available to you. If not, just keep tapping. We're getting movement through the hip. We're getting strength in that foundation leg hip. And one time more round. And bring it down. Well, our time is just about out here. Let's, before we end, do a little squat. So both hands on the back of the chair, bending the knees, coming down, again, firm through the feet that are grounded down, just bending up and down a little bit. Doesn't have to be far. Tailbone coming straight down towards the earth. One arm might lift up and come down the front and over the thigh. It might just come up to shoulder level and come down. Or it might come up, over, and down. So just find exactly what your range of motion for shoulder, for hips, for knees is in this position. This is a bit of a challenge. The hips go down and they go back just a little bit as well. One more time on this side. And then finding the squat again and coming up and over the thigh with that hand, pushing back slightly and around. And perhaps bring the arm all the way up. One last time. And bring the feet together. Let's come back into a seat as we end our time together. Before we do that, come to the edge of the chair. Bring the arms wide. And then and the palms are forward. Then we're going to bring hands in front as if you're offering something up. Then curl the fingers, curling from the little finger to the forefinger and thumb, curling in, bringing our hands back and pushing out from either side of the lungs and exhaling. And then pulling back and palms open forward as you come down to the sides. Open forward, palms up. Curling back, pushing out. And then pulling back with palms down. And then palms out to the front as the heels of the hand come down the front of the body. Inhale out, offering palms up. Curling the fingers, bringing them back. Big exhale. Palms down, bring them back. Heels lead the way, heels of the hands lead the way, palms forward. And one last time, opening up. Inhale, curl, and exhale. And then bringing them back with the palms down, heels leading the way down. And to end here, we're going to do 3 healing sounds. This is again from Taichi Qigong. We bring our hands like this with some firmness and openness between the forefinger and the thumb. We're going to inhale, and on the exhale, we'll bring the hands up to forehead or just above the head, and we'll exhale with a shh. On the inhale, just let the hands rest down. Exhale, inhale, letting any bit of sadness or grief that is ready to let go flow out with the sh sound. One last time. And then bringing the hands right in front of the lungs. Coming back to a smooth, silky breath. Polishing that white diamond of the lungs within you. Setting that white billowing sail with fresh, courageous, confident air of this moment. Two more breaths. Thank you for practicing. Good to practice with you. May you be well. See you the next time.